How are you? Hope you've had a good week. On the show tonight, I will be talking with No Devotion. May have seen them trekking around the UK in the last week or so, doing some pretty emotional gigs, it's fair to say. No Devotion talking about the forming of that new band on the XFM Rock Show tonight. Of me, Stu, Geoff and Luke, welcome.
How's it going, man? How's it going?
We should say at this point that we're recording this interview, No Devotion are now a band who are 2 live shows old, right? And before we talk about the live shows and the EP and what's going on, I just want to point out that there's other stuff about the backstory to this band which I think has been more than covered in a couple of newspaper interviews that a couple of the members did. So we're not going to be discussing that stuff. If you want to read up on that, look for the Guardian interview and a few other bits and pieces, because we're here to talk about the new band tonight who have the shows that have been taking place in the UK and also a new EP. So let's play a track from the EP and then we'll talk about how good it is to be back on stage performing. They're all beaming smiles at me in the studio, so you can imagine how happy they are right now. This is No Devotion on the XFM Rock Show. New EPs, they are here tonight on the XFM Rock Show, or at least 3 of them are. So, Cardiff was show 1, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell me about going up on stage and playing in a new band and, just being back to being in a rock band.
Oh, man. That was, not going into the past too much, but that was a year and a half of waiting to do something. So, going on stage and seeing your family, your mother, just my mom was on stage, crying her eyes out. The kids on the front row crying their eyes out. Every band we ever played with was there.
Wow,
crying their eyes out.
And even just for those people who don't know, the Welsh members of No Devotion mostly live in the States now, so it is very much going back to Cardiff and doing your first show there is emotional on various levels, because you will be seeing family and friends you haven't seen for a while, right?
Yeah, so it's probably
not a dry eye in sight. I can tell you, as a bit of an outsider, the American over here, it was wild to see, because I really saw any heartbreak that the band has gone through. I think that was felt the most in Wales. I think the fans of the band there were the first fans. They were the ones who stuck by them through everything and had their heart broken the most of what happened. And so to have them come out swinging and just doing their thing, head held high, I think it meant a lot to a lot of people.
XFM.
When a few members of the band were doing the interviews that we mentioned earlier and announcing that you were coming back with a new band and new music and stuff like that, there would obviously be nerves. Anyone who's in a new band, even if they've been successful in an old band, is nervous about the new band. But I guess the defining moment was when you stepped on stage for that first show, because there seemed to be tremendous support for you guys doing something new in social media. I mean, as soon as you put a song online and announced, this is what we're called, this is what we're doing, the support was amazing, but it must have gone to a new level to actually do it live.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't real till that moment.
No.
I think everybody we've been doing this for a little while now. We've been keeping this under wraps for a year plus. And so these are our favorite songs. Like literally, I can say that I get a new record often. Every week I get a new record and I love it and I put it on and I think, man, but I really want to hear these songs that we've been working on again. Those songs are really good, but they're my favorite songs right now. I don't want somebody else to come out and go, nah. So it was the first time we get to see what everybody thinks.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing, was like you just said, are these actually good? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We love them, so it was about, and it was your first show in front of people. Usually do your first show in front of a cat, you know what I mean? In a club somewhere, you know what I mean? It's like, you can, but we had to come out, like you said, we had to come out swinging.
Yeah.
And it was pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever felt that many emotions in a gig.
Oh, man,
so many different feelings.
I was bawling.
When you finished the gig, were you like, okay, now it really is onwards and upwards? If that was the test, we can kind of go back to being world conquering from this point onwards.
Yeah, I think it was like, oh, we should do this again tomorrow night.
And you did. You did via about 10 hours of drinking afterwards to celebrate the fact that
minimum of 10 hours.
No Devotion is now a fully functioning live band. And then you could see from the second show, you can do it with a hangover.
Which is important in a rock band.
You go. We're just ticking off the to-do list. We'll talk some more in a bit. No Devotion are here tonight on the XFM Rock Show. I've got Stu and Luke and Geoff here. We touched earlier on the fact that you'd been doing this in secret for the best part of a year, and then, you know, you put a song online and let everyone know what was going on. Take me through the process of getting Geoff involved with the band, because I think it was it Lee that was saying, yeah, like the other guys were talking about doing something, and I said, I wasn't really into Thursday. I don't know if this is a good idea. You know, that's from an outsider's perspective, that seemed to be, so that must have been an interesting conversation to have.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that was the sentiment. It was an interesting thing, because I've been friends with Karen for 10 plus years, you know, and I sat down with her for dinner just because, you know, I knew Stu. I just met Luke last summer. You know, I knew Mike, and I thought, oh God, what are those guys going through? I feel so bad. Just tell me about it. And she was like, yeah, well, you should sing for the new band. And I was like, you think I'm crazy? I'm not gonna do that.
I know.
Hey Geoff, newsflash, you are.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely nuts. It turns out. But yeah, and then
we had that conversation a lot where I'm like, are you sure? You know, because we still didn't know what was going to happen with everything.
No, of course.
You know what I mean? So
there was a lot of press hype. By the time Geoff had started like working with us, all those things that we didn't love kept coming back up and rearing its ugly head. So it kind of was constantly Stu checking in with Geoff, being like, "You all right, bruv?"
Yeah. So you still want to do this?
And I started recording before I even met Lee, so I was like, oh, the guy over there that I never met doesn't know if I belong? Huh. He's in London. What does he know? Yeah. But no, actually, it's funny because now that we've done it together, it's like actually Lee and I get on, like, you know, we have the same taste. We like all the same kinds of stuff. So it was a pretty amazing thing that you wouldn't guess at No Devotion from Thursday. No. You wouldn't guess at it from their old band. Yeah. You wouldn't guess it at anything we've done before, but this was the perfect meeting place for us.
If you listen to it musically, I'm thinking a lot of the demos probably initially were done via MP3s being sent to the members of the band who were in different locations in the world. So it doesn't seem like there was a concerted effort to make it sound different to your previous bands. It just kind of came out that way, right?
Yeah. It was just... They're not happy accidents, but kind of, right?
Well, Karen sent me the demos, and I didn't listen for 2 weeks because I thought I knew what it sounded like. I've heard their band. And then I was on tour, and we were all bored, and I started talking to the guys that I was on tour with about this idea. And they were like, just put it on. And we're all like, oh, man, this is really different, but it's really good.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, maybe I should think about it. And they're like, you should definitely do it. And then I was worried. I didn't know if I could sing this kind of stuff, you know? And then it just sort of came together, and it was like, it sort of blew us all away. Like, not tooting our own horn or anything. It was just kind of like, oh, this works. This is going to work.
Yeah. And I always wanted someone like a lot more artistic, and I wanted someone who just would convey more through the lyrics. Geoff was perfect for me. As soon as like Karen mentioned it, I was like, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, like, I was really excited. So.
And you, Stu, as well, coming from like a producer's background, because you've done that, you probably have a greater overview of that side of things when it comes to working with artists, because you've been in the control room cracking the whip as well as being on the other side of the window.
Luke is smiling right now, laughing.
Me and Luke have almost come to like flows a couple of times, because I'm like, hey,
when you're like, could you pick up the beat? No, it's not in time.
No, he's great, but I'm a tough taskmaster. I could probably just get one take out of him to be fine, but I just gotta keep on picking, you know.
Actually, it's kind of funny. We were all like, the first time all of us got together, we recorded the song that we'll release next. We recorded together. The first one as a full band.
Yeah.
But Luke was doing takes, and everybody was being hard on him. And the first thing I chipped in is I said, "Uno mas," you know, just one more time. And he goes, Bruno Mars. So that was a little good, like, American, British breakdown there.
Weeks doing their very first live shows, which everyone, I think, who's attended has been having a good time, right? Whether they've been in the audience or on stage.
Yeah.
And I think everyone who was in the audience could see that you guys were having a good time on stage, which certainly makes it like a two-way experience, right?
Yeah.
When we talked earlier about, the sound of No Devotion being different to your previous bands, what's it like actually getting up on stage and playing that type of music, just as the musicians? Because it's one thing to be creative and come up with the sounds and the lyrics and stuff like that, but if you're used to a different kind of style of music, then actually conveying it on stage must be a sort of different experience for all of you.
Yeah, we were saying last night is, like, in our old bands, we definitely go on stage with like the heaviest, most like, let's start up, let's get this started, and then you'd know immediately if that song went down badly. You knew your set was ruined.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the dynamic is kind of different. So we start with this really kind of slow, brooding song right now, and it's definitely weird not to have the immediate like reaction. You know what I mean? Because that's what we're so used to, is like people just being like, yeah, start the band, everybody jumping, and now it's like, you with us or not? But it's like, are you with us? And like we're bringing them in, and they're like, yeah. And by the end of it, everyone's kind of into it, and it just feels.
It's like a sugar rush before, like, you know what I mean? You go in and it's like, oh, look at the size of that mosh pit. But it's with this band, it's like it's an experience. You know, Geoff spent an awful lot of time creating a lot of visuals for the show. And so like the show's lit completely different, you know, the sound is completely different, and so sort of, you know, when you hit that point in the show, we play an instrumental, you know, everyone's just slow bobbing their heads. It's like a different sort of payoff.
Yeah. Where do you go from here? We've heard music, we've seen shows, you've absolutely been accepted. As we said earlier, the amount of goodwill for this band is probably overwhelming for you guys. So we've got all that now. What's the next thing?
Another single, then an album.
Yeah. We're gonna. I think the song that everybody's going crazy for at the shows is actually a brand new one that by the end of the song, everybody in the crowd is singing, and that's actually the next thing that we're releasing. And then in September, right? Yeah, I know. We just guessed. We said, well, it's our favorite, so hopefully it's their favorite. But it has turned out to be that way. So we release that next. But in September, we do a regroup. We finished the record, and we really plan for the actually being a band.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's great to see you back here, firing on all cylinders and smiling a lot, right? That's a really good thing. And look forward to the album. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.